Hello. Welcome in. Glad to have you here. See your smiling faces. My name is Kevin, co-host of Blind, Reel, and Print. Here today with
Ryan, the co-host of Blind, Reel, and Print. I think we should point out that Kevin said that they see all of you, which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
You should be worried as a listener.
Just want to bring this in closer. This is a fireside chat.
Oh, get closer. Everyone.
Yeah. You want to make it
really close.
really intimate, you know.
Not that close. Not that close. Back off. Personal space. It's funny because Kevin and I record this, and we're about 6-7 feet apart. With a bunch of shit to try to dampen the sound.
Yeah.
If only you saw.
It's working though.
Yeah, it's working.
It's crispy.
Do you guys like it?
Yeah.
You guys like it? Well, tell the audience where we're at. This is the best time of the year.
Yeah.
Of the month.
It's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
This is coming out in the summer, I think. So, Christmas in July.
Preach. Very happy and excited today to be inviting you into another episode of the Letterboxd Top 250 Shuffle.
We need a theme song for this.
Yeah.
Because this is like our it's our favorite. It's our top segment, I guess you could say.
It's the thing we always come back to
Yeah.
every week. Yeah. Or every,
Yeah. It's a good battery, or even just a good indicator of cinema.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good to kind of right the boat a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, because we could dive into all of these other things, but these are the correcting agents.
Right.
You know,
True.
this is the rudder
Keeping
of this
us
podcast.
True north.
Yes. The compass, the
The
rudder, all those things. This is a Letterboxd Top 250. And we've done a number of these now. I think it's like 7 or 8, I guess, technically, if you talk about the top 4 episode that we did. So, yeah, we're getting through it.
40 films. Or 32.
Yeah, I have finally watched 51% of the Letterboxd Top 250.
Hey,
I've made it to 51.
Dang, that's a lot. I mean, you watch a lot of movies.
I definitely do. But
I'm at 54, so you're catching up, I think.
It's going to be so, because
Something
it basically
like
is 3 movies per percent. It's 2.5 technically.
Sure.
And man, I'd have to watch
just 7 or 8 more movies.
Might be able to catch up. It sounds like you're getting busy.
Yeah, you have some time.
Yeah. It's not a race. I keep telling myself it's not a race.
Yeah.
So what did we watch?
Yep. So super excited. This is one of the most eclectic collections of films.
I think it's the most eclectic.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Because we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So first one, animated film, Howl's Moving Castle from Hayao Miyazaki from 2003.
I think it's 4.
2004. About.
Yep.
I don't know. You're better at story.
I've got it here. I'm reading the things off Letterboxd just so that the audience knows. Sophie, a young, oh God,
hit it.
I'm just wondering what this. How you milliner? That kind of job? Because doesn't she like make hats? That's what I thought. Is turned into an elderly woman by a witch who enters her shop and curses her. She encounters a wizard named Howl and gets caught up in his resistance to fighting for the king.
Nice.
Yes.
And then we have Winter Light from Ingmar Bergman.
Oh, you're going to love this very short sentence.
1960.
Come on.
3?
Yes. Nicely done. Great.
Cool.
Yeah, let's see if you can guess the other ones too. I think that's a really good test unless you know them already.
I think I know. I don't have them written down. So.
Okay, that's good. Then it'll be a good test.
Yeah.
Winter Light synopsis, very short sentence. It also was hilarious when I read this. I was like, oh my God. It also feels like the most Bergman thing. A Swedish pastor fails a loving woman, a suicidal fisherman, and God. That's pretty great.
It is the most Bergman thing ever. Yeah. Okay. And then we have The Ascent from something Shepitko.
Larisa
Shepitko. 1977.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, you only have one more after this. The synopsis: Two Soviet partisans leave their starving, I was going to say surviving band, but starving band to get supplies from a nearby farm. The Germans have reached the farm first, so the pair must go on a journey deep into occupied territory, a voyage that will also take them deep into their souls.
Oh,
now that's a
spooky.
movie. That's a movie.
Oh yeah. And then lastly, R.I.P. David Lynch.
R.I.P.
Mulholland Drive.
The year is.
I want to say 2001. It's not though. 2002. Wrong.
What's your final answer?
Final answer 2001.
It's 2001.
Yeah.
There you go. I was worried.
Shit.
I was like, trust your damn gut. What are you doing?
Doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt.
Sometimes doubt is important.
Yeah.
But in this instance, you just got to balls to the wall. There's nothing on the line.
Yeah.
Okay, the synopsis of this: Blonde Betty Elms has only just arrived in Hollywood to become a movie star when she meets an enigmatic brunette with amnesia. Meanwhile, as the two set off to solve the second woman's identity, filmmaker Adam Kesher runs into ominous trouble while casting his latest project. So, freaky deaky Hollywood movie.
Oh yeah. Freaky dicky.
So, where do we start? You start at Howl, or where do you want to go?
Sure, yeah. I watched them in that order.
I did as well.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Seems like appropriate.
So, Howl.
I definitely want to land on Mulholland, so whatever it is. Yeah,
Cool.
let's just go.
Let's just go with it.
Yeah.
We got this. So, how does Howl sit for you? Because if I remember correctly, your old review was. It seemed like I think you gave it like 3 stars or something way back when. So
yeah,
and I don't think you have that much smoke for it or anything. So what are your thoughts on it now? Like, how did it hit you? Because you had seen it.
Yeah. I have thoughts.
Here you go.
I gave it 4 stars. It's consistent. I feel like how I want to talk about it is like mainly through Miyazaki. Because to diagnose it a little bit, or I don't know. I feel like this movie was more like Boy and the Heron than Princess Mononoke.
100% agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you can aim at the narrative as a way to compare those two. Like Princess Mononoke, very clearly you see narrative design. You know who the characters are, how this thing is functioning and moving. Whereas in Boy and the Heron and Howl's Moving Castle, it's like super poetic.
Yeah.
Like ethereal, dreamlike. Yeah, I have no idea like what is actually going on,
what the meaning of all of these things are. I don't understand why Howl is turning into like all of like
fucking bird.
Yeah.
Like doesn't explain anything.
Yeah.
And even in Spirited Away, there's a level of like exposition, you know what I mean?
Everything makes sense in Spirited Away. There's never a point where you're like, it's meant to be weird, but it still is a grounded weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it all makes sense within the world and like what's going on. This just feels like a fever dream.
Yeah.
And I would almost make the assumption that like this is a super personal movie for him. And like same with Boy and the Heron, I feel like when he gets personal, it's like he doesn't want to be clear with what is happening, and it's just for him. Like all the meaning is like meant for him as a person, and we're just meant to like take it all in for what it is, because
feels kind of true. Yeah.
You know, but I think what's great about that is you're allowing a lot of room for the audience to like imbue their own meaning onto these images and stuff, because I feel like there's multiple readings on what this movie can be or is about, just simply based off of the non-described nature of everything in this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I on my first viewing, which was back in 2014, I did not really care for it. compared to Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke that came out in Princess Mononoke to Spirited Away to Howl, in that order. Obviously, Princess Mononoke means a lot to me. Spirited Away as well. That one was instrumental in my kind of understanding of movies and stuff like that. It just is mind blowing still. And in some ways is the perfection of Miyazaki's form, I think. Yeah. And so I remember watching this one, and it just felt so unclear, all over the place, weird for the sake of weird.
Yeah.
And watching it this time, I definitely felt more things, and it impacted me. I cried. I just felt deep emotion in it. And I didn't catch that before. And I think it took me a lot of, as this podcast is kind of doing for me, a rewiring of some things up there.
For sure.
Up in the noggin. Thank God we're working on it finally.
Yeah.
But I just didn't understand. I just took it at its face value. And like you said, like, it's just kind of like, and I think poetic is a better way to put it. I would have never thought to say it like that.
Yeah.
But that's how I would take it too. And so this time I definitely came out like, wow, that actually, I still have like a lot of questions and stuff like that. And it does feel like more like a dream state than anything else.
Yeah.
But it is the characters and the depth. And I mean, talk about just like not really explained, is like her turning old to young to old to young. Sometimes mid scene.
Yeah.
We'll cut back and she's a little younger. Sometimes cut back and she's a little older.
Right.
Like, and there's all of this. And I bet someone's like been cut this apart and been like, oh, it's like it's whenever she does this or whatever like that.
There's some explanation.
But it's, the movie doesn't give any explanation. It's just like, it's just doing these weird things, even with the form.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa, this is so strange. And you really have to pay attention to even notice these things happening.
Yeah. Totally.
And there's just so many really amazing moments, really interesting characters, where at first I was like, all these I didn't really care for them, but even just like the little bit of fire, I forget what the fire's called, and
Calico, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then even the old lady like ends up turning old, but the witch, that was great too. And but I definitely came and had a much better appreciation of it this time around,
for sure.
And I definitely get it. People have loved this movie. For some people, it is their favorite Miyazaki film.
Yeah.
And I still have questions about that. But I mean, I like it. I think just for some people, it hits in a different way.
Yeah. Totally.
And for me, it hits a certain way. But I definitely can feel what people are going through. What did I rate it as?
I think you gave it a 4 or something.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5. Yeah, because it does.
Does some great stuff.
It does some great stuff, and I was definitely at the end of it. I was like, "Damn!"
Yeah,
I was really feeling it. Like there was just something about that connection and losing what you love and sacrificing everything and oh my God, it's just so good. And even just like, I love Miyazaki talking about humans and war and things like that, and just he never shies away from how terrible it is and how destructive it is. Like the way Miyazaki shows destruction is terrifying and scary.
So detailed.
Oh my God, the animation style over there is so good. But so that's how Howl made me feel this time around. I did watch it subbed this time. I had seen it dubbed before.
Nice.
The dub of this one I didn't really care for, and so I was like, I'm gonna switch it over to because I don't know why, this one was a little more jarring than some of the other ones that I've seen, but I don't know.
I watched it dubbed or subbed.
I prefer to do that, and I think I'd rather watch The Boy and the Heron subbed. I watched that dubbed. And I think, and that one I kind of left being like, it just didn't feel that strong to me.
Yeah. Just like as a movie?
Yeah, just as a narrative a little bit. It just kind of felt like a what?
Yeah.
Like it just didn't land. It didn't feel as like big enough either.
Yeah.
In some way. I don't know. It was just compared, because it took that movie, Boy and the Heron. I mean, it's a Miyazaki film, so it's dealing with all the same folklore sort of things and stuff. it's getting weird with it and having all of these different like realms and stuff. Like everything is like thrown in it, but it just felt like I've seen him do it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Mononoke and Spirited Away they fill all the gaps for me. Like they're just so damn good.
Because they're doing all of those things plus having good narrative and story and character and stuff, which I think is important.
Yeah.
But some people don't need that, I feel like, for it to be good, which is cool too.
Yeah.
Because, it is interesting. Like, I feel the same way about The Boy and the Heron in terms of it just kind of like missing the mark. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with like just no storyline, basically.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
And I feel the same exact way with Howl's Moving Castle. So it is funny that like this is here on the list and we're talking about it.
Yeah, it's a serious favorite.
Yeah.
It's got really rave reviews.
Because that really goes to show how good the imagery and the poetics and the emotions are, because it's obviously hitting still, despite no story.
Yeah, it has some of the most beautiful imagery. Like when he takes her to like her favorite place or this idyllic place because they have that magical door. Such a great storytelling device, I think, to move things and just that show amazing, because he goes into a black when he's like going off on his missions. He just goes into blackness, which is also really cool. I mean, it's just like it's a perfect thing. But that scene with the flowers and the oh my god, it's just
walking
like,
through the thing,
that was
really pretty.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah, I had written down like Hayao Miyazaki's meta movie because of the way he's using these portal systems, like the door in this movie, and then Boy and the Heron is like feels like a portal movie as well. And just like how he's interpreting this sort of mechanism as like a dream state, so to speak. And I think when you look at Akira Kurosawa's Dreams,
which I want to watch so bad,
it's super similar to a lot of this stuff. I feel like too. So I feel like this is open-ended question of like Japanese subconsciousness or like Japanese, like the surrealism, so to speak. Yeah. And like how the culture expresses these ideas and stuff. I feel like there's definitely some sort of link between how these directors are going about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to accept it will be an eternal blind spot for me in some ways. Like
I mean, for me too, I don't really know.
Yeah, you have to. We'd have to ingratiate ourselves in that culture for years and years
just
to even grasp like what the Japanese subconscious is. Yeah, but it does feel like this is seeping that. Yeah, or at least Miyazaki's. Yeah, but it just has. It's poetic. It's got a lot of depth and meaning. Yeah. But maybe it's not meant for you. Yeah. And you're kind of a voyeur to
what this is really.
To what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see this being like a metaphor about his mother or something. Or, yeah. There was a lot of like moments like that, I feel like. Or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if we're like trying to, like there's even like what it means to like sell your soul and stuff like that, and not and that combined with doing your duty, right, and what it means when those things don't align, and
like every time he goes to the black room, it's like him making a movie. Yeah, you know what I mean. And like him not being able to take care of the people he wants to take care of or something. Yeah,
there's so many interesting things about Miyazaki. Once you kind of know like his relationship with his son is not so good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I think from what I've heard and what they've talked, like, because his son has worked at Studio Ghibli, but always in the shadow of his father. Yeah. And I guess it's just been rough. Dang. It's been really tough because Hayao Miyazaki is a perfectionist and probably a tyrant. Probably. I would not imagine he's like the nicest. I mean, I've seen a lot of documentaries about him. He seems like so interesting. Yeah. But he also is just so what is the right like
principled.
Yeah, principled, not enigmatic, but like there is just this quality about him that is like a powerful block of stone. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, he grew up in post-war Japan. Yeah. Fascist Japan.
Yeah. There's a great, I know. There's a great interview where he is talking with Akira Kurosawa and talking about Akira Kurosawa's art, because obviously Akira Kurosawa is, I think lesser known as, but still, if you know anything about him, he was an amazing artist, storyboard artist. Like what he did for Ran or Ran or however you pronounce it, the storyboards he did for it are, they are art themselves. They are some of the most beautiful paintings and things you'll ever see.
Sure.
And so colorful. And he's like talking about that. And it's just like, it's great to see those two connect and the chain kind of continue of like really visual first in a lot of ways, or just like the importance of visual storytelling continuing to pass along. And I think the best Japanese directors are doing that.
Yeah. As we've spoken.
Yeah. Well, we have 3 more movies to. Do you have something else you want to say?
No, I was just gonna say how Japan is like easily most represented country on our podcast.
Oh, it is absolutely. Like I feel like it's
easily.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Theoretically, America does have a fascination with Japanese culture. Yeah. So there's just that. They're also one of the most prolific cinema industries in history. Yeah. Going back to the beginning of history. Just like in terms of constantly putting out movies. Yeah. Because we're talking about multiple decades, multiple different art forms. You know what I mean? Yeah. Multiple directors. So this is a very prolific cinema industry that we're talking about, Japan. So I think it's just the nature of the world that we live in terms of, all these things, economics and politics and art. And, It's just
because Japan's got the sauce.
Because now that I think about it, it's not like France has this decades-long triumph, where, I guess you kind of, but...
I think you could argue so many, like France, probably.
France, Italy, like UK.
Germany.
I don't know.
Maybe at a certain point.
I guess, you could say.
But I don't know. I think like I feel like Japanese movies I can name one in every decade.
Yeah, easily. Can you do that with the French?
No, I personally can't.
Yeah, exactly.
I know there are plenty of people that could, but for
there
me,
certainly is. Yeah, like good movies.
Yeah, but I feel like even just in this podcast, we've talked about Japanese movies in so many different eras.
Right.
And that's just, and once again, we're just going off of either the Letterboxd Top 250 or genres or any of these things. Like we haven't even done an episode on just Japanese like films or the film industry or anything like that. So that's they're just kind of synonymous with films and being some of the, like that country producing some of the greatest filmmakers ever.
Yeah.
Like people always argue Akira Kurosawa is one of the best, if not the best ever.
Yeah.
So
he's
congrats.
like a top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's undeniable.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's almost eschewing all these other great directors, because I feel like Kobayashi just doesn't get the flowers.
Not at all.
So great, yeah.
Oh my god, it is kind of crazy. Yeah, Kurosawa, and I think that's the problem with the Hollywoodification of everything.
Yeah.
And how it's always been. There's only like one director from every country.
Right.
Like Bong Joon-ho is the Korean director.
Right.
And
when
that's
there's
it.
easily like 5 other guys.
Exactly.
5 other directors that could like fill that.
The Akira Kurosawa is not even alive, but that's the Japanese director.
Right.
And so on and so forth. Like there's only Yorgos Lanthimos is the Greek director.
Yeah.
Like they don't really make as much room for these other cultures and things like that. And I think that's
they don't even make room for American directors.
Yeah. I mean, what does it even mean to make room for American directors besides just like, they're just gears in a machine. Like that doesn't count. Yeah. Like that's fucked up. You have no individuality. At least like when when you look at like the one director from every country, they're given leeway.
Yeah, they have somewhat agency.
Exactly. Yeah. Where like an American director is not.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like you
you're-
said, cog in the machine.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
Huh.
Always comes back to the perils of industry.
Well, at least for me, that's how I think of things.
Yeah, especially film.
Yeah.
Especially
And
today's film.
yeah. We live in a very interesting time in the film industry. We're living through, and we probably will live through maybe multiples of these if we live long enough, of cinema changing.
Yeah.
And responding to the last generation, and
It's a conversation.
yeah. And even just seeing the life of A24 and how that is changing before our eyes right now. It's not the A24 of the past.
Right.
Like you're getting Neon taking that place and so on. Yeah. And I'm starting to, like, it's feeling almost like there's always two rivers and one grows while the other shrinks a little bit. And that's...
Wow, Ryan.
It's kind of a one way to kind of think about it, because nothing
Two
ever really
wolves live
goes
inside
away.
me.
Yeah, you too. That's what I always say.
Yeah. Well, that's like a myth. That's like a legend thing.
The two wolves.
Yeah.
Oh, I do know that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's on my. That's my tattoos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have names?
Mickey and Mikey. I don't know.
That was not good. Huh. Gave a lot of thought to that one.
No, there's actually a Japanese legend of two twins. I think it's Izanaki and Izanami. Izakami or something. I forget. But they're like a boy and a girl. And they're like, they birth the world or whatever. It's like the creation myth. It's actually really similar to... There's like a Western myth. It's like a Bible thing or something. Or like a Roman... I think it's a Roman myth that it's like basically the same. It's interesting how similar indigenous like mythology is to each other.
Yeah. I tend to think that there's just a natural human erring
like a story
on the side of what story is and how we frame it, because I think we can't even begin to we're still on Howl. We have 3 more movies to talk about, but we can't even begin to understand our biases as humans towards human things.
Yeah.
Like when we think we're separated from it, it is so we can't possibly separate ourselves from being human.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a lot of like ego death.
Yeah.
Maybe that's as close as you can get, or like ayahuasca or something.
meditation.
Yeah. Like how do you like really truly separating out consciousness
From the earthly being,
You literally have to go watch like another planet's film industry.
To
And
really
they might not even
understand.
have that film might be of such a human thing.
Yeah. Wow.
But just to like see, like that's what I hope for one day is to really have that feeling of like complete separation and like absorption without any of the preconceived notions to really know exactly like even just like having 2 parents that birth a child. Like there's something even to that inverted pyramid that like if I were to fucking go on a chalkboard and connect all these things, like that like creation is something that is visceral. What would a society that has no creation but instead multiplication or something, like I don't know.
Yeah. Different forms
It's an unanswerable question that I'm going off on, and I apologize. I'm ripping too deep.
But I think it is at the core, right, of our existence and like this art form too, just in terms of the themes of creation. Yeah.
But to bring it back, it is very interesting to like hear like what Native Americans believed and things like that, and to all of these things. And then, there were probably so many religions that, I mean, not probably, there were so many religions and have been completely annihilated off the face of the earth in favor of Christianity, Judaism, Islam,
Buddhism.
these things, Buddhism, that
Hinduism.
Huh?
Hinduism.
Yeah, all the Big Ten.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying 10, but the big
College football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Pac-10, the Prayer 10 or something.
The Prayer 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
Prayer
God.
10. Okay.
Yeah, you know what has religion? Winter Light.
A movie named Winter Light. Yes.
A great film.
Yes.
Talking about spirituality and religion.
Wow. This actually worked out really well.
Yeah.
Totally intentional, folks. We don't bullshit on this podcast.
No, yeah,
There's we come
have an
in,
outline on
yeah,
screen.
we
over
literally,
there.
it's like Saturday Night Live. We have cue cards.
Yeah.
And I am reading it right now. You got to bring it a little closer. I can't read it from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you,
Thank you.
Bump up the font a little
Yeah.
bit? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you wrote it? You did? It's not digital?
Can we get a reprint?
Yeah. Okay. Just bring. All right. I'm good now. I got this. Yeah. The applause light just went off. That's why people are cheering. But Winter Light.
Yeah.
It's always great. What's the other Ingmar Bergman that we've seen? Oh, Scenes from Marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. But this is probably our first like Ingmar Bergman film.
What do you
Black
mean?
and white.
Oh.
Like steeped in religious subtext.
Sure.
And just not brutal.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah. But I guess just, and not dry either. There's a word I'm searching for of just like, oh God, like shining a light on something, like just be like, I guess maybe raw is the best way I can put it, is like, there's just something about this, about Persona, about Seventh Seal, about a number of these things. Oh, do you hear something?
Something going on. Maybe you hit. Oh, maybe it was.
I did hear something outside.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it was. But all of those movies, they have this quality of like analyzing the world,
Yeah.
and taking on all of these huge topics, and usually putting them in a really tight, small package.
Yeah.
And you can argue Scenes from a Marriage has that, but that just felt of like a drama, like a real
great drama.
Yeah, just a great thing. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was answering like the big questions. Where like this is talking about the big ones.
Yeah,
like religion, what it means, like
existentialism,
death,
yeah,
suicide, and that just feels like Bergman.
Yeah,
like we're talking about like the real
classic
psychological shit.
Yeah.
Because
it's good to be here. What have you've seen all those movies you were mentioning?
Yeah, and Hour of the Wolf as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've seen. Have you? What other Bergmans have you seen?
Scenes of Marriage, Autumn Sonata.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I gotta see that.
Cries of something strawberries.
Oh, The Wild Strawberries.
Yeah, I think I saw that, and then
I think I've seen that too, but I just don't remember that one.
Persona. Haven't seen Seventh Seal.
We'll get there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I need to watch Persona again. I have not seen that in forever.
Yeah,
I would wonder
great.
how it hits. Yeah.
It's great.
It's great. He was one of the first directors that I recognized and understood.
Yeah.
Like kind of in my early film school days.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he has a distinct style.
Yeah.
Like there
He's
is
very stylized. Yeah.
And that's always helpful for a new film student. It's like the Wes Anderson view of things. It's like, okay, thank God, there's like something I can look at and analyze.
Yeah,
Kubrick had that too.
Yeah,
like very clear.
For sure.
This is what you're watching a Kubrick film.
Yeah.
And these are Bergman films.
Yeah. So how would you define the Bergman style then?
Well, a lot of the things I mentioned. So like kind of that raw existential.
Sure.
Usually black and white, so kind of like that stark color. And he doesn't just shoot it black and white; he shoots it for black and white. This one especially, it's got
high contrast.
Exactly, high contrast. It's shot. It knows it's going to be black and white. So those are the big big things I'd say. What about you? What
I
do you
wrote
think?
down profile shots.
Oh, getting in that.
I feel like that's a big thing he's consistently doing. He's always searching for this frame of like, because a lot of his movies are just people.
They are, yeah.
So
very
it's like
small.
you got to figure out a way, and yeah, they are small. So you got to figure out a way to shoot these people interestingly. And I feel like he's always finding the most intimate, the most like daring, like questioning ways of looking at people. And in here you see a lot of like the profile stuff and like obviously the iconic persona, like
yes, that is the classic image.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's like a riff off of this like personal journey he's looking for, I feel like. And the close up, he's like kind of known for trying to figure out this close up thing and like finding a perfect close up and stuff. And you see a lot of that in this, I think, too. Which is interesting because that's something we've talked about before with D.W. Griffiths in terms of like inventing the close up.
Yeah.
And just like how important this shot is.
Yeah.
And especially I think with the human face, like there is something very powerful about just having this thing in, because I think a lot of his movies are boxier too. It's just like taking up the whole, like you're just.
Are you talking about Griffith or Bergman?
Bergman.
Yeah.
It's just so powerful. Like these close up shots.
Yeah. It's I'm trying to think of other like visual things. I will say to add another thing is like the way he talks about relationships and love.
Yeah. Personal relationships.
Yeah. Obviously Scenes from a Marriage is that.
Yeah.
But you feel that too. You feel like what it means, the longing, the love, the push, the pull of relationships. And yeah, it's great to have once again, this movie also edge of my seat.
Yeah.
What was happening, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
And it's another really great because it's also it feels like it happens over a period of like a day.
Yeah.
Maybe even just a few hours between like church services.
Yeah.
And it has such a great kind of like driving thing, like ticking clock, is that he's sick. And
he
it's
has
like
to help him or whatever.
Yeah, well, no, the priest is
guy,
sick, our lead is sick, and he's just like he needs a nap. Like that's like a huge part of it. That's a mood. Yeah, and we've all been there, but it's just like it feels like the movie's happening, and he's just like trying to stay with it.
Yeah.
And eventually, kind of gets a nap and kind of misses like a thing, kind of, and
the guy.
Yeah. It's such an interesting little tidbit. I like things like that just kind of throw a wrench in it.
Yeah.
Insomnia, Christopher Nolan's film with Al Pacino and Robin Williams, has that other quality. Do you know the premise of that? The premise is Robin Williams is like a killer or a fugitive. Al Pacino is a detective or something like that, is trying to go after him. But I think they're in Alaska. And the sun isn't setting. It's that time of year, and so he can't get any sleep. Al Pacino.
Oh, cool.
And so he's going kind of mad, like trying to get enough sleep and all. And I think that's
a perfect thing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
it's something we all can totally understand. Yeah.
That's funny.
Trying to get enough food, which like the human condition. Part 3 just made you appreciate any bite of it.
Yeah.
I guess all of the human condition did. But like thinking about just the most base human instincts and needs.
Yeah.
And you take one of those, even just like getting sleep. We need to get that once a day or else.
That's a stress.
Yeah.
Not getting sleep.
Yeah. And I mean, that just ups the pressure of anything in a movie. You start adding that, you take away food, shelter.
Like temperature.
Yeah. It's just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can even say sex is like that too. Like using that as like a
tension.
Yeah, it's tension. It's some way to like pull the heat out of something. There's a term for that too. But like it's like putting a cold rock against a hot object. It just pulls the heat out.
Right.
And that's something too, like having things like that where you can release valves and tightening the pressure. You know what I mean? But, yeah, so
he's a great.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, there's plenty of that in this, and I think that relationships in this have that kind of quality to them too.
Yeah,
but
I noted here like there's an interesting relationship that Bergman is employing in terms of narrative design and visual design.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, it's to me really interesting because the way you're talking about it, it's like the narrative design is really simple and almost non-apparent, where the visual design is like very forefronted and in your face. But how these two things marry into a very like cohesive thing that just makes sense. Like, yeah, I find it really interesting how different directors balance it out, but specifically Bergman, because of how stripped down the narrative design typically is, and then how stylized he ends up going with cameras specifically, but just like sound design too. I think he does a great job, and all these other layering of cinematic tools and stuff. Yeah. He's
also say
interesting guy.
Bergman is kind of depressed. His movies are depressing, and I think some people like attribute that to kind of like the Swedish worldview, and it just is kind of like a sad place. It's cold. It's all of these things, and it's just kind
lonely.
of and you get that in spades with this one as well. In spades. Eventually, I'm going to stop saying that. That's what happens when people point out what I say.
But I'm going to keep saying it.
Yeah.
It just works.
See, that's
right?
the problem. Is like now if you're it's now a term in the lexicon. We're going to cut against the spades.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you seen First Reformed, Paul Schrader?
No, I have not. I haven't seen any Paul Schrader, which is really sad. I mean, I've seen some movies he's written, but I have not seen any Paul Schraders.
Yeah. This is a great movie to cut against for this. I feel like it's almost the exact same movie. Like a priest character dealing with existentialism, death, like helping this guy who I think tries to kill himself or something, and his wife, and then talking to other religious people. And yeah.
Nice.
Also drawing lines to Bresson. I feel like hitting similar notes in terms of like death and religion and being really depressed.
Yeah.
And being really fucked up. Yeah, I feel like those two films, Devil Probably and this film, like it's just like so obvious the influence on First Reformed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. Paul Schrader did Mishima as well, correct?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I started watching the first 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is too good to watch on my TV.
Yeah.
Like I
That's
have
like
to watch
a Roxy movie.
Yeah, I have to watch it on the big screen. I can't.
It's so much.
Yeah.
Because Willie, I think, saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what made me really want to watch it.
Yeah. And it's definitely worth it. It's great.
Yeah, I got it. So as soon as it comes, I'm sending out the invite, the bat signal, the Kevin
going
signal.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. It'll just the visuals alone are just astounding.
It's crazy.
The same with Stalker. I haven't seen it, and I really I would love to wait to watch that on a big screen.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, Stalker's great.
Yeah. But yeah, Winter Light, great acting as well.
Yeah.
Really saw some of the classic actors that are in a number of Bergmans, so that was cool.
The Bergman Promise.
Yep. Yeah, you get it's a Bergman. It's great, and it just answers some really great questions. And there's some there was a really great quote about about Jesus, and about like him on the cross before he died, and like what he was like screaming, and that no one was coming to help him, or there was something like that. There's a lot, man. I wish I came with it, but it blew my mind. So take my word for it. There's a great line about that. That basically the guy who has a really bad back, who's kind of the assistant a little bit in the church.
Oh yeah.
He mentions it.
Yeah.
Something
I remember.
as like our priest is having a crisis of faith. Then this guy comes in and is like, he has a crisis of like he always lives with this crisis of faith.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's the first time that our lead is really coming to terms with this. And then
because there something about like someone, I feel like randomly talking about Jesus, like kind of just spitballing, and then coming up across like a revelation that like the priest was like, oh wow, this is profound. Am I thinking of this movie?
I think you're thinking of this movie.
I can't remember.
Man, I don't. I hate to say this is
like
a question.
The piano player, I think said it or something.
Oh, the piano player did say something interesting as well. Because he
Yeah.
was also just there just to make a buck. I don't even think he was paid, but he just was there
locking
just
the
for
door
that.
or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
he was just there just to play. He's got no skin in the game, doesn't really
Yeah.
care.
But he has like this one scene where he
Yes.
just starts talking. And,
Yeah.
And then
He
like
also is-
lands on a really interesting thing.
Yeah, he's also a very talkative guy. As soon as like the camera and like we go to him and we're with him, he seems like he just wants to chat someone's ear off, which is really funny. But yeah,
Totally.
dang, I wish we had a way to like access that information off the top, but
Yeah. Just quickly
we don't
Google
got
that.
it. Yeah, we don't got it.
No.
It's just it doesn't work like that.
I'm only human.
I'm only to err is to be human or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sounds right. Are you quoting something?
I think so.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
To
That's Dostoevsky, right?
oh yeah. Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky.
All right, ready?
Okay. So to be human,
Oh, to be human
the Ascent.
is to ascend.
Yeah.
The Ascent.
I mean, talk about religious movie, right?
Mm.
Like steeped in religious imagery.
Yeah. You don't know why it's called The Ascent until later.
Right.
But it, I think that title can say a lot about just even human consciousness in a way. But it's so, what it leads up to is, it almost feels like it doesn't even like really do it justice. And like it does, like it isn't like trying to like really throw it in your face. Like they're making this ascent to the gallows, but it's just the way it was shot was so interesting. It's just like static.
Yeah.
And they're just like walking up and it's almost a one shot, but then they do some cutting away, but it never gets closer. And it was just so interesting. I'm jumping ahead here, but yeah, what an interesting, steeped in religious subtext movie.
Yeah.
Deals with suicide and the aftermath of attempted suicide and kind of like what this character at a certain point realizes they don't want to live any longer, is going to either be captured or tortured or whatever, tries to kill themselves and is unsuccessful. I can't remember. I don't think, maybe the gun doesn't go off, maybe something. Maybe someone gets to him before he shoots himself.
No, isn't he trying to hang himself in the bathroom?
No, that's the like the secondary character. I'm talking about the lead guy.
Oh.
He has the gun and he uses his toe. He takes his shoe off and he's trying to shoot himself in the snow bunker. This is kind of near the beginning of the movie.
Wasn't that in Human?
Huh?
Wasn't that in Human Condition?
No. Human Condition did have that same scene. He sticks a stick in there.
Oh, dang.
That also had that exact same kind of scene.
Wow.
But in this, yeah, so to see like two attempted suicides in a similar way with like rifles.
Yeah.
But basically, like, there's two characters basically that we follow. There's one that's kind of I'll say, for lack of a better term, the go-getter. He's going to go and he's going to get food for his people and supplies. And this other guy is basically following him along and is helpful, but isn't really, it is not skilled enough in a lot of ways and can't really take care of himself. And eventually they get into a firefight, and then that inexperienced character kind of gets stuck alone while the other one runs off, and that tries to kill himself, fails, and I think it's the other character comes back for them.
I remember now.
But you watch him come to terms with his life, and basically decide like it's over. And so from then on in the movie, he is not there, like in it, like he's already accepted death, and so he's now totally different and changed. And I think it's interesting that now that guy is like dragging along this like almost like zombie-like character, still is very profound because now they're a person. I mean, talk about like ego death. Like, I mean, that is just like death of the soul. And we follow kind of that character. And then at a certain point, the character that saves this attempted suicide character, eventually they are on the high moral ground the entire movie, and then they sell out
to the Nazis.
Yeah. And they don't even sell it out at first, but they have to.
Yeah.
And he is still
he really
weak.
Waits until he's about to get killed.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as like push comes to shove and you're really really in the shit, he couldn't handle the heat.
Yeah.
And the other character who is like, what else is there? Isn't even trying, willing to sacrifice themselves for everyone else.
Yeah.
And the other character you would think at the beginning of the movie was kind of that person, but by the end is not, and is the only survivor of the whole thing. And it's
he gets killed.
Because he's running away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Nazis shoot him. Yeah.
Yeah. But he does try to kill himself unsuccessfully.
Yeah. And then they kill him.
Yeah. And then he tries to run off.
I just got the episode title. Handle the Heat.
Handle the heat.
Because there's a lot of like near death.
Yes.
Or death in all these movies.
Yeah.
Or suicide or something.
Now
driving yourself to death. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one obviously in the same vein as Come and See as well, Human Condition. It lives
With
in those
Nazis.
movies of just like true humanity.
World War II.
Yeah. Yeah, World War II is just like the perfect way to present that. It's very, very easy.
Yeah, I just noted World War II and the Nazis. Metaphorical evil.
Yeah.
It's just like an easy cop-out thing to do.
It's really, really no explanation needed.
Yeah.
We get it. Right. And it gives the excuse for them to be really evil in the movie.
There is a really great, just like how we talk about like Moby Dick or The Great Gatsby as being like these meta texts.
Mm-hmm.
World War II is like an insane meta text that the entire world can understand.
Yeah. And everyone has their own interpretation of it.
Yeah. It's
and what it means. And we're obviously, the American one is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, we are
Talk about wicked.
So desperate to hold on to the one powerful, arguably good thing that we did.
Yeah.
Was stop the Nazis. I think that there are some obviously terrible things.
Even though we funded them. What?
Yeah. Whoa. I love my Ford Bronco. Ford.
In my toothpaste in my bank.
Yeah. So we don't talk about that.
It is super interesting. World War II. Because this is like one of Shepitko's one of her more well-recognized films, and I think it is because of the World War II narrative.
Yeah.
That just like drives it to this mainstream sort of like understanding and popularity and stuff, especially as a Ukrainian film, which I think is important to note because it is like technically Soviet, but nationalistically it comes from like a Ukrainian director. So I feel like a lot of those understanding colonialism and imperialism through the gaze of like a socialist kind of understanding, I think is interesting. Yeah. Kind of like definitely relating it to human condition in that way too, of just like, humanity through this subtext of socialism. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't have anything negative to say about socialism in any way. It does keep with the kind of come and see narrative of like that.
Just the war.
Just what that means. And Nazis are bad, and basically just the torture of life.
Right.
And the sad ending.
Right.
Like or just kind of like the doesn't really resolve in some ways.
Yeah.
The
futility. Of trying.
Futility it's awful.
Of trying.
Yeah.
Futility.
Fatality.
Yeah. The fatality and futility of trying. I had written a little blurb about like meta-realism. The Ascent, released in 1977, coincides with the Russian poetry movement called meta-realism during the 70s and 80s, coined by Mikhail Epstein. This is a movement mostly with poetry and kind of the meta is both metaphysical poetry and metaphorical poetry. So it's using language as like a metaphysical metaphor for like other things, which just seems like a basic mechanism of poetry in general. But they were kind of like philosophically.
At a certain point, it didn't exist, or it wasn't a big. Yeah. So yeah. I always find it funny when we take advantage of like what seems basic to us now.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh yeah, of course, poetry
but there's
is
like
this.
whole schools of thought built around this thing.
Yeah. You can go deeper.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I feel like this movie, especially when you look at religion and like how it's using imagery as like religious metaphor and stuff, like I feel like this film is very meta realism in the way it's like combining or using film as a mechanism for the metaphysical metaphor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, to be heady with it.
Yeah.
But I just saw it so clearly with this film.
Yeah.
Just in the shots that she's choosing. It was super poetic and like definitely reaching for something spiritual, I feel like.
Yeah, and to kind of also point at kind of the Andrei Rublev aspect and I mean a Tarkovsky connection is just the focus on scenery,
nature.
Yeah, and nature, and sometimes pulling away to that and seeing just like branches and the way
the light.
Yeah, like that's a very I think of Andrei Rublev and water and everything like that. Like there's just something so powerful.
Right. Yeah.
And and very poetic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this one was great. Anything else?
No, I let's go on to the
all right.
To the
grand finale.
Yeah. Is it pièce de résistance or pièce de, I don't fucking know what the first word of that sentence is, but the big one.
Oh yeah.
Big one.
The granddaddy of them all.
Yes, the one we'll wrap it up with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. The third person to pass away prior to our recording.
Who were the other two? I'm trying to remember.
Jenna Rollins.
Oh, you're right.
Alan Renault, who were in the same episode. Yeah.
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 Shit. Well, same episode.
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny. Damn. Don't tell me we're killing them.
Yeah. No.
No.
There's no
way.
No.
There's no
coincidence.
It's just coincidence. It just happened multiple times.
So yeah, the last thing any director wants to be right now is on our Letterboxd top 250
episode. If only if we did it on dead people, they'd come back to life. That's cool. The power.
Yeah, I mean,
Altman?
In a way, we are keeping them alive.
Hey, that's very Tralfamadorian of you to do a Slaughterhouse-5 reference. So it goes.
Yeah, right. We're all in this moment.
It does. It all exists all right now.
Yeah. I mean, even Shepitko. Right? Because she has passed away.
She has,
tragically.
Yeah.
Really early in her life. So, yeah.
One of the lost greats.
Death is an important theme in this collection.
Yes.
Or just in general in the segment.
Yeah.
I think when you look across all episodes, pretty big theme.
It is. Yeah. It is. I mean, that's also one of the most human things. Can you imagine a world, like a society that never died?
Yeah.
Like their movies, how would their movies end?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
There's something so interesting about like, movies are so made for humans, which makes sense. But it's just a weird, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's like a reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of reflections, dreams, life, death,
perspective.
Mulholland Drive, directed by David Lynch, released in 2001, originally was going to be a television show on ABC. The pilot was shot.
Wow.
Starring the exact same cast. But then it was, and it was going to take place in the Twin Peaks universe.
Oh, wow.
Twin Peaks was also on ABC, was canceled after 2 seasons. Then a movie, Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, came out, and this was going to be David Lynch's return to television. So the pilot was shot, did not get picked up, and then I think eventually a French producer heard about this or something and made a deal, and they ended up getting funding to add an ending and to insert other shots and things like that. And so they had to rebuild sets, get costumes, get all the actors to complete it. And so now we have Mulholland Drive, the movie, which was built out of this idea. And it just makes me...
I could see how the last act...
Oh, definitely the last act. I mean, that's the David Lynch promise, is that last act. That's a very David Lynch way to go about.
But I could see how that's like a different production like period. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of style and everything. Yeah.
And but it's one of those classic things where it's like, damn, David Lynch was never respected and appreciated.
Yeah.
Like he was appreciated by I was
the cult.
But even like I saw so many present day directors saying very fond things about him when he passed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, what? Like it's another reminder.
A lot of people,
like David Lynch is so weird.
Yeah.
And so hard to, like, for a normal person, it's kind of a normal person. It's hard to watch it. Like even Twin Peaks can be very difficult for people. It was difficult for me at first.
Yeah.
But then I just fell in love. And so you get the whole David Lynch promise with this. A lot of unexplainable things, a lot of strange, and people sometimes just attribute like uncomfortable to, that's so Lynch.
Yeah.
You know?
The very basic.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so much more than that.
Right. There's a lot going on.
Yep. I'm a Lynch head.
Oh yeah.
They call us linchpins.
Yeah.
Throw me like a grenade, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Triggered.
Okay. Ooh. Fuck, I don't have any more words. Okay. Bombs away.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Like a movie about movies, great. Like always gonna hit hard. I wrote about how like this movie is using perspective and point of view shots to emphasize dreamlike qualities in the cinematography.
Oh yeah.
While also using acting to employ like a House of Mirrors sort of like who's who, what's what, because you have two characters who play very archetypical people, but then they're also played by people, you know, so you have two actors who are playing two different characters at the same time, which is interesting, adds to the dreamy shit. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's dreamy. That's how people would describe most Lynch things.
Yeah.
And he's definitely like, he reached into that part of himself to create some of these things. So yeah, there was just something so strange. And then music obviously plays such an important role.
Yeah.
Angelo Badalamenti was his go-to composer.
Yeah.
Did the Twin Peaks, did so many of these movies, brought back for this as well. And so you get they were also the perfect pair musically. Like the music all like employs that same dreamlike quality.
Doesn't he like I think he had something of like getting the song directly to his desk or some shit? I forget. Maybe I'm making this up. But I don't know. Remember hearing some story of like having some direct channel to or direct phone line or something to his composer.
From Lynch to I wouldn't be surprised.
Like just being really tapped into the process.
They were so close. There's some amazing stories about how they came up with the Twin Peaks theme, and it made me cry when I watched it the first time because Angelo is playing on the piano and talking about the process. And David Lynch had talked about the process as well, about how they came up with music. And it was just like, and throwing things, like just coming up with things and bad ideas. And then there's something, and they were able to pull these things out of each other. Yeah. And Angelo Badalamenti in this video is like describing it and playing it as he's describing it. It's profound. Yeah. And so that connection, that music connection is so strong in his movies. And this has that too. And it even, if I remember correctly, that whole scene with the singer, when they're in the theater, I think that came after. That was another not in the pilot thing
they shot later.
Yeah, and that whole theater scene was so strange, and that's when it really goes off the rails.
The Spanish song.
Yeah. Super weird.
Because that's like midpoint-ish.
Yeah, it's starting to get there. Maybe a little bit after, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I think if I remember correctly, Angelo Badalamenti is actually in this movie.
Oh, cool.
He is, I think, one of the
in the theater.
Oh, actually. Very quiet, saying like you have to hire this woman.
Oh,
I think he's one of those people. Yeah,
meta.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. He also plays the piano in Blue Velvet.
Oh wow.
And I guess there was a story about how he kept like scooting in to be more in the shot, which is really funny. Like David Lynch talking about that. Yeah, like was really like, hey, go back, but he wanted to be in the shot so bad.
That's funny.
Very funny. So that's an aside.
Yeah.
Naomi Watts in an early role talks about how this was
instrumental to her career.
Yeah. Has she had been on like soap operas, and that Lynch, he always brought the actors with him. Yeah. Always picked them early and pulled them along with him. Laura Dern, Kyle MacLachlan, Naomi Watts. These are character or actors that were brought on all the way, culminating in Twin Peaks: The Return, the third season that they made with Showtime, where all of those actors are together.
Oh wow.
And
powerhouse, the Avengers.
Yeah, but he always had, and from the interviews I've watched, he had, and this is the actor saying it, he had just a sense of knowing who this person was.
Sure.
Obviously a director that was so different than everyone else. Yeah. And that's why the studios just didn't trust the guy. He failed with Dune, and then that was it. Yeah.
He didn't prove that he could exist in this system.
No, he did Elephant Man, and that was like his thing. Yeah. And that was Mel Brooks taking a chance on him. Yeah. Which is such an insane connection. Yeah. And then Dune, that was it. And he didn't like it either. And then I think Blue Velvet was the next thing maybe that he did. Sure. And then that is much more defining of who Lynch would be. With Eraserhead obviously being the obvious. Like, you can look at Eraserhead and see all of Lynch's movies
combined.
Yeah, to eternity. So yeah, Mulholland Drive has all that great stilted acting, like strange, insane. I think the scene where Naomi Watts is acting out the scene in the audition is one of the best.
Yeah, that one's crazy.
Insane. Like, the pressure in that scene is crazy. And everyone in the room didn't expect it. And it shows just how good Naomi Watts actually is. And I think one of the most underused like actors of our time in a way. And I think that's also on her agent and things. Like, I like the things she's in all seem kind of
yeah.
But
I don't know. Well,
do you think?
I mean, it's a great scene. I don't know. I feel like it's so played up. I don't know if it's like showing how good she is as an actor. I don't know. I didn't really read it as that. Yeah. Or I don't know. Yeah. I think she is great. I think that scene is just so played. It's so concocted to me. I guess I don't really I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like the juxtaposition of the expectations is what makes it interesting. And obviously her performance is like leading into that. I don't know. Yeah. It's great. I love that scene too. Yeah. Because it's just shocking. But I don't know. I feel like
it hits people different.
I feel like because you're expecting a certain like result with that scene, just in terms of gender expectations and stuff, I feel like her performance is like whatever. I don't know. Maybe well, you know what? Redacted.
Hey, it hits everyone different. For me, it hits me like something like a good bong rip,
right? Because you really like Lynch. Right?
And I like the extremes. Yeah. So for me, it was something special. But I like when it's kind of turned up. It's awkward. It's strange. Yeah. And you definitely get that not in Spades. You definitely don't get it in Spades.
I remember what I was gonna say now. I fucking forgot it for a while. Go. The beginning was cool.
Like going down the escalator
thing.
the dance. Oh, like the beginning.
Yeah, the very beginning. Because I was just like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah, it was weird.
It's like has no relation to the movie at all, but just like a way to like really bring you into it. I thought that was like a really cool effect because the layering and the kind of keyframes and shit. It's just like, how do you think of that? And his ideas are so great. Just like so expressive and, you know, they're obviously hitting something. But he obviously transcendental meditation was his thing. Sure. And he just had the ability to tap into visuals in a strange way. And I think like in some way, like I love pre-digital Lynch. Yeah. Like I like when, and I think I'm just like a quality head. Like I care about quality so much. But he has this, had this obsession with messing with the form, that being a great scene that was just like, what? It also looks bad. Yeah. Like it's like weird. And you get that in like future Lynch stuff where it's just like, that just looks bad. Yeah. But it is what he wanted. Like, it's like, because Twin Peaks season 3 has that where there's a lot of effects and CGI where it's like, this is so bad, like so clearly. But then there's an episode, I think it's episode 8, that's kind of infamous. And it has some of the greatest effects you can possibly imagine. So, you know, unless it was like a budgetary thing, it was like, we can do it all in one episode. But it's one of those things. Inland Empire being an example of like, that's all like digital. I don't think it goes as far as digital camcorder, like Bamboozled. But it was definitely very lo-fi, and he was just very lo-fi after Mulholland Drive and kind of getting into the 2000s. Yeah. Reminds me of New Order on Power, Corruption, and Lies. There's this song 586, and like the intro, there's like this 20-second intro, and it sounds like someone on GarageBand just like put this shitty fucking mix together, and you're like, how did this make an album? Yeah, like professional grade album, but the rest of the fucking song is amazing, just like fucking hits and stuff. Yeah. It's just interesting to me how it's just some things just slip through the cracks. Yeah. It's one of those things where like there's a lot of modern artists or contemporary artists that eschew the classic form. Yeah. But they still have the ability to paint classically. Oh yeah. Like there's plenty like that, and it's a choice to go there. And I think that's always a very interesting thing. And it's always like something I applaud is like taking that and they perfected it, but then they warp it and change it. And they make their own thing. Yeah. And that feels like Lynch had proven that he could make movies. Yeah. But now Elephant Man being this thing. Yeah. The dreams and stuff. Because I think this and Blue Velvet are like, really awesome in terms of being like the Lynch movies. Yeah. Yeah. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is awesome. Yeah, I mean, it feels to me like the most Lynchian of them all, but I think Twin Peaks just in general is that. I think that was just like oh my God, it's just crazy. The playground. Yeah. He just had so much time to do it, and it is such a tragedy that the show ended, and that Mulholland. I mean, if Mulholland Drive was a show, I can't believe that. Yeah. I wish I could see so many seasons of this, but we get what we get. I'm happy to have a bite size. One evening's worth. Well, yeah, I'm choking on it. Like The Rings. Yeah. So Mulholland Drive ends. You know, it doesn't try to answer its questions. It leaves itself open-ended. Oh, weird connection. The director of Loveless, the Catherine Bigelow co-directed. Oh, Mike Montgomery? Yeah, Mike Montgomery is an actor in this movie. Wow. He is the guy with the cowboy hat. Oh, cool. Yep. And I guess sorry. It's all good. He was so bad at... He was not an actor. He's a producer. And ended up also producing a lot of like biker or like outcast movies. Oh yeah, Lost Highway. Yeah, and I think he also did Wild at Heart. As well. Yeah. Or maybe just Wild at Heart. But
So was kind of known, and it's a weird thing about him. But I guess they had literally had to have cue cards for him because he just could not memorize those lines. And you could tell like his acting is so stilted, but that's also a Lynch thing too. Yeah. It's like there's something about stilted acting.
Sure.
You could get that from Andrew Bujalski as well. Like when we eventually talk about Computer Chess,
sure,
that one is some of that acting is stilted. Crazy stilted.
Yeah,
it's like painful, but it feels purposeful.
Yeah,
like he feels like of all because. Yeah, I just feel like he's perfected the form. He had perfected the form, and then can start pulling all the other levers.
Yeah, this is so fucking dumb to like mention this now, but like. This reminds me of Human Condition.
Oh, yeah.
And when they switch languages and they're like talking in Chinese, it's like, wow, they don't know this language. And they're like, it sounds like they're reading off cue cards.
Oh, is that true?
It's just, yeah, because I had read that they didn't have any Chinese actors because they had terrible political...
Oh, so even the Chinese speakers are speaking bad Chinese?
Like all the characters in the movie are Japanese.
Whoa.
I think even some of the Soviet characters.
Oh, wow.
Maybe there's some.
Yeah, certainly there was very Caucasian actors.
Yeah. But yeah, all the Chinese characters are like Japanese people speaking Chinese. And so to me, I was like, I feel like they don't know this language. It sounds like really weird. The acting was like very like word, instead of like a performance sort of a thing.
Well, that's like how Indiana Jones Temple of Doom that takes place in kind of like India or India adjacent.
Yeah.
And it basically was, yeah, exactly. Because I don't know if they even I'm not sure.
It's a
like
thing,
it might be Sri Lanka. It might be, that's kind of what I mean by India adjacent.
Yeah. Pakistan.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
Start another war.
Yes, exactly. But there is like a priest in a village, and basically like the most stilted English you'll ever hear.
Right.
But it basically they told him what it sounds like to say the lines.
Right.
And that's what he did.
They're performing phonetically.
Exactly. So that might have been what it was too.
No,
it was
I
just
think
performing
that's
phonetically.
Yeah. I think it was. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, which is very funny. Yeah. I would be curious to hear the Chinese perspective on it. I did not catch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Cool. Acting.
Yeah. Acting.
It is a
stilted
great
acting.
Like texture on the movie. Because I feel like realistic
Human
acting
Condition.
Or just in general in films, like having different acting styles is like really hard to accomplish because like the easy choice is doing it realistically and like mimicking human like action and stuff like that. But like when you have a stilted acting performance, I feel like that becomes artistry because you're like creating your own world basically.
Yeah.
And living in it at the same time. Yeah.
I just I imagine the perfect Ryan movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know if I'm even capable of making it. But it has like all of these elements of like I love non-actors. I love that feeling of it.
Right.
And fisheye lenses and dreams and it's there.
Sure.
Like I can imagine the weirdest hodgepodge of like what the fuck. And that's why I think Lynch, he covers a lot of these things for me.
For sure.
And he captures a lot of it where it's just like, what? I think what's interesting about kind of the weird acting styles in some ways, the stilted acting, Justin Theroux feels like a character from an actual movie in this movie. And he's just like looking around like, what the fuck is happening? And he's the director in it. And he's like being told like, you have to cast this person.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The fuck is going on? And
like he's the only normal person.
He's the only normal actor in the whole thing because Naomi Watts is so weird in it.
Like
and
buying into
the other
whole
girl
thing,
as well.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, this so insane.
Yeah.
And Justin Theroux's just like, the fuck is happening? And then and then he catches eyes with Naomi Watts at a certain point.
Right. On set.
Yeah, and just like there's just like that where that's like I don't know. There's something very interesting about that gaze.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that she couldn't even handle it and like runs away. And then that's also
Right.
just like the movie is like collapsing at that point. And
Right.
the world is collapsing.
Yeah. I feel like the meta movie is like hinging on the mechanisms of the gaze.
Yeah.
That might be so fucking pretentious. That was
Yeah.
like the most fucking pretentious sentence I've
Yeah.
ever said in my life.
I don't think it is.
But I feel like I feel that in this movie so much
Yeah.
of like perspective and looking and the gaze and how much that is like sewing this whole movie together.
Yeah.
Like how each character is looking at each other, you know?
Yeah.
It's
And
really, really
it's
strong.
funny you say that because this also, to talk about the gaze and a sexual
Yeah.
gaze, this movie was one of the like big, I mean, the lesbian sex scene
Yeah.
was huge. It was like a big cinematic moment, I guess you might say. Like it was, it broke boundaries.
Sure.
It was like a very talked about scene.
Yeah. I mean, queer people definitely look at Lynch as like a huge like opening
Yeah.
to their consciousness
Yeah.
and like identity and stuff, because you can look at his imagery and his stories as like queer allegories.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
top to bottom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and then so explicitly in Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. And transformative
Yeah.
like themes as well. Like
Right.
there is a trans character in Twin Peaks.
Oh, I did not know that.
David Duchovny
Wow.
is playing the character and plays a woman. Was once a male FBI agent and
Oh,
is now
wow.
a female FBI agent.
Wow.
And there's a great scene in the 2016 one, which is so like pro trans, and is David Lynch like talking to David Duchovny's character. I forget what her name is, but talking about how like just defending trans rights and defending David Duchovny's character as a person and all.
Sure.
It's just, it was so beautiful, and it felt like Lynch was on the right side with
This
these
whole
things.
time. Yeah.
Isn't punching down.
Right.
What is he punching at? He's just
punching.
inching. He's just punching. Like I don't even know. He exists in a different realm. Like yeah. I have so much affection towards, and there still is a couple movies of his I still need to see.
Yeah.
And I look forward to it. And I'll be sad once it's over.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm waiting.
It is over.
It is over until AI
Yeah.
make Lynch movie. Oh
The Lynch
that'd be
AI
oh
assistant.
God, that'd be so.
How do you? How do I make the scene better, David?
Yeah.
Mr. Lynch.
Shut up. Get off.
Yeah.
Close your eyes.
Meditate.
Yeah. Okay.
So
now.
tie it all together.
Oh Lord. Before we recorded this, Kevin and I were like, oh, we both were coming into this connectionless.
Yeah.
But
Looking for connection.
yeah, there is something here. I thought you made a good. What you said something that was profound when you
Handle
were
the heat and
Yeah.
driving to death.
yeah.
Because definitely the suicide stuff is
Yeah.
big. And I feel like Howl becoming a bird and like brimming death through his like, need to do this thing
Yeah.
very much like ties into the World War II like thing. And then like Winter Light. And even Mulholland Drive, there's a lot of passion
Yeah.
and like drive, like even Betty trying to achieve this goal, it's like this thing. And then the other brunette main character dying, right? Or some shit.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in the end.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely there.
My interpretation is, and I think whenever we're talking about these things, we are also stumbling on just pretty generic movie things.
Yeah.
Because
I feel
that
like these
is
are
what makes
human condition
Yes,
things.
yes.
Yeah.
We're going to be using that a lot, I feel like. I think transformation
Yeah.
from a literal perspective in a lot of ways, I think is is something that I kind of see through all of these, is kind of the warping and what it takes to completely even just like throw off all of your past self.
Definitely death and transition.
Yes.
Death as a metaphor for transition.
Ooh, that's the one. I like that. Yeah.
All right, bye, folks.
That I like a lot.
Yeah.
Because there is like, and not necessarily literal death, but just like what it means to kill your darlings a little bit, like to
end the cycle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I was going to say like a lobotomy, but a little bit, like a little brain surgery.
Yeah. A rewiring.
Yes, a rewiring. Rewiring. Yeah, so that would be that's kind of what I see.
Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters. I can't do Watkins' accent that well.
You ruined it for me. Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, the Emperor in
Dune
Part 2. He did. You know, I was kind of expecting it to be awful.
Yeah,
but
he did great.
Yeah, I think it was great.
Plays a dramatic role really well. Yeah.
You've never seen Deer Hunter, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll go there.
Yeah,
we'll land there eventually. Young Christopher Walken is interesting. Also, Batman Returns, the second Tim Burton one, stars Christopher Walken as well.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Pulp Fiction
on our Christopher Walken episode.
yeah, which we will do in accent the entire time.
AI Christopher Walken accent.
Oh God, that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of trees and a lot of rivers being melted.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's totally worth it for content. Content is king. Okay, well,
we killed it.
Letterboxd Top 250, one of the greats.
Yeah.
Happy to be doing this with you, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's always a good,
as always,
reminder of why we're here.
Yeah.
These are movies, baby.
We watch movies.
We like movies. We talk about movies. All right, folks.
All right.
You heard it here first.
Toodaloos.
That's a wrap. Bye-bye. Wind Reel and Print is a podcast by Salad Brain Productions. You can find us online on Instagram at Wind Reel and Print Pod. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. And please, if you like the show, leave a rating and review. We'll see you next time.